You would think that being a motoring journalist, people would take what you say quite seriously, but that's actually not really the case. Just take the BMW X4, for example. The media could not understand the purpose of this car, but look what happened. Since its launch, it has sold almost 250,000 units worldwide. So what do we as motoring journalists really know? Well, not a lot, apparently. But before you start nodding your head, I'd like to point out that I, from the get-go, actually loved the X6. Okay, maybe only because its looks caused such a stir, but whatever. The point is, I was looking at it from a consumer's point of view, and not a journalist's point of view, and I'm going to do the exact same thing with the X4. So yes, BMW has blurred a number of segment lines, but they are certainly doing something right. The brand new X4 is based on the X3, only it is slightly longer and nearly 4 centimeters lower. To be fair, it does look like a mini-me version of the X6, and this is perhaps why I like it. The design of the Sport Activity Coupe, don't worry, I'll come back to that, is opinion-splitting to say the least. You either love it or you hate it. The same with its big brother, the X6. The swept-back coupe styling can make it appear a bit, well, odd-looking. The rear sports BMW's signature L-shaped brake lamps, and the X4 shares a bonnet, front bumper, doors and grille with the X3. The cabin is very much the same as the X3's and sports the usual suspects when it comes to standard features. As with other BMWs, you operate the functions by scrolling through the on-screen menus using the rotary dial. The driving position has been lowered for a more sporty feel, and the boot, even with the compromised roofline, is only 50 cubic decimeters smaller than that of the X3. I'm not really sure how big that is, but not very big at all. But for all the criticism of the hatch, because of the way the roofline is constructed, there is still enough space. But bearing in mind, I am only 1.64 centimeters tall, so maybe it's not saying a lot. But the black roof and red stitching is quite sexy. The X4 feels more like a car to drive than an SUV, and so is less intimidating because it is smaller. The ride is smooth, while what's probably one of its most impressive traits is its handling. There is minimal body roll, even if you are a tad aggressive when turning in the nose. There is more front end grip than you would expect from a car with a higher ground clearance and curb weight of 1,815 kilograms. They've done exactly the same with the X6, so that's no surprise. The 3-litre turbo inline-6 fitted to this xDrive 35i is revvy and suits the Sports Activity Coupe to a T, while the 8-speed auto is very slick and gear changes are snappy. This is typical to all BMWs nowadays. The steering could do with a little bit more feel, but turn-in is sharp and precise. Like I mentioned earlier, BMW have called this a Sports Activity Coupe, which would be better known as a crossover really. The Sports Activity vehicle moniker is saved for the wagon-like X1, X3 and X5. Confused? Yeah, so are we. Basically, the X4 is aimed at people who want a sportier ride, but with the quality of an on-road vehicle that can explore dainty bush trails. The X4 is going to face some stiff competition, namely the Range Rover Evoque and Audi Q5. Not to mention the Porsche Macan, which was one of my favorite cars this year. Like the X6, this car might not make sense to the average motoring journalist, but it does make its drivers smile. And if I look at it from an objective point of view, which is part of my job, wink wink, I would say that its biggest competitor would probably be the X3. The X3 is practical, has better passenger space, and just makes better buying sense. But then again, since when has buying sense come into it? I have no doubt that we'll see many an X4 grace our roads with the odd, eye roll from onlookers, but a definite grin from the owners.